All right, let's dive into this, shall we? The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. We're going deep today.
Sounds refreshing. A deep dive is just what we need.
I was thinking the same thing. And to help us navigate these waters, we've got a few different guides. We've got a Spanish language book review, which should be fun.
Those always bring a different perspective.
They do. They really do. Plus, a really thorough English one, too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got to cover all the bases, right?
Absolutely. And of course, trusty Wikipedia for some quick facts.
Always a good foundation.
So what are we hoping to uncover in this deep dive?
Well, I'm really interested in the story itself, like the scopium and how Verghese builds this whole world.
Immersive, I bet.
Totally. And the themes, too. Those big questions he seems to be grappling with.
Just stuff that makes you think, right?
Exactly. So jumping right in, this isn't just any family story. We're dealing with a saga here, a real saga.
Yeah.
It spans 77 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. From 1900 to 1977, following 3 generations. An Indian family living in Kerala.
Setting the scene, okay. And it all starts with this, well, a bit of an unusual marriage, an arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage is always intriguing.
Yeah. But in this case, it's a 12-year-old girl, Mariama, married to a, get this, 40-year-old widower.
Oh, wow. That's quite a difference.
Yeah, a bit jarring for us modern readers, huh?
Definitely makes you think about the context of the time.
Exactly. But that's the thing about Verghese. He has this way of shifting your perspective as you read.
I can see that. Taking you on a journey, so to speak.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this Mariama who later becomes, drumroll please, Bigamachi.
Bigamachi.
The family matriarch.
Yeah.
Powerful one, you know? But it's interesting, we don't even learn her real name.
Her given name.
Yeah, until much later in the book.
Interesting. Makes you curious about who she was before.
Totally. Now, this family, they're bound by something else, too, besides just, blood. There's this mysterious affliction. They call it the condition.
Uh-oh. Sounds ominous.
It is. Each generation, someone dies by drowning.
Really? Tragic.
Yeah. And they even have this, well, it's almost creepy, but they call it the water tree. It's this family tree.
A family tree documenting those who drowned.
Yeah. It charts how this condition has touched each generation.
Wow, that's intense. Like a visual representation of their fate or something?
Right. Haunting is a good word for it. But eventually, the cause of the condition is revealed. It's actually a real medical condition, von Recklinghausen disease.
Okay, so for those of us who didn't go to med school, what exactly is that?
Right, good point. It's a genetic disorder. Causes tumors to grow on nerves.
Oh, wow. So not just a fictional curse then, a real tangible thing.
And the fact that Verghese is a physician himself, it just adds this layer of, authenticity to it all. He knows what he's writing about.
That's fascinating. Brings a different level of depth to it, I'm sure.
Definitely. But it also makes you think about, the weight of a condition like that, echoing through generations, affecting each person differently.
The ripple effects, yeah. I bet that plays a huge role in the story.
Okay, so now, picture this. Kerala, India, the setting for this whole drama. And both reviewers, they just captured it, the feel of the place.
Yeah, I was reading those descriptions and I could practically feel the heat,
Right. It's so vivid. The Spanish reviewer used this phrase, empapándonos de sus olores y colores, which basically means immersing ourselves in its smells and colors.
Perfect. It really does feel like you're right there.
And it's not just a pretty backdrop either. This family, they lived through some major historical events.
Oh, yeah. India in the 20th century. That was a turbulent time.
It was. British colonialism, the fight for independence, even the rise of communism, all happening around them.
Wow. Imagine trying to just live your life with all that going on.
Right. It makes you think, how much control do we really have over our own destinies, when the world around you is in such constant flux?
Heavy stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
It's not your typical lighthearted family drama, that's for sure.
Nope. And that's just one of the themes Verghese explores. There are so many more.
Okay, lay 'em on me. What else is he digging into?
Well, we've got medicine, of course. Makes sense, right? With him being a doctor and all.
Right. But I bet he goes beyond just the technical stuff.
Oh, yeah, he does. It's about the human side of medicine. Love, loss, faith, doubt. Even the caste system plays a role. Adds this whole other layer of complexity.
Wow. Sounds like he's weaving a lot of threads together.
He is. And he does it so well. Like, take Digby Kilgore, for instance. He's a Scottish doctor.
Okay, Scottish doctor in India. Interesting.
Then he's Catholic.
Yep.
which causes some problems for him. Back then, there was a lot of prejudice, even in medicine.
Makes you realize even fields we consider objective aren't immune to bias, huh?
Right, and Digby's story is a great example of that. Plus, there's this whole connection he has to the family. It's revealed slowly throughout the book.
Ooh, I love a good slow burn reveal.
Yeah.
Keep me guessing.
I won't spoil it, but let's just say his path and Mariama's, they intersect in a way that's both surprising and heartbreaking.
Oh man, now I'm even more intrigued.
Yeah.
I can already tell this book is going to be an emotional roller coaster.
It totally is, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I can't wait to dive deeper.
Yeah.
Verghese, he's got this knack for making you think even while you're caught up in the story, you know?
It's a gift, for sure. But speaking of characters, there are so many in this book, each one more interesting than the last.
Yeah, the English reviewer called it a carousel of sensibilities.
Carousel of sensibilities. I love that. It really captures that feeling of being surrounded by all these different perspectives.
And even the characters who seem minor, they stick with you.
It's true. Verghese gives each one a real sense of depth. And then, of course, there's Big Amachi. She's like the heart of the story.
Her transformation throughout the book is pretty incredible. From child to, well, to the matriarch she becomes.
It's quite a journey, yeah. Wife, mother, grandmother. She goes from being almost powerless to having so much authority.
Especially in a culture where women's roles were often so limited.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. It's like she's constantly pushing against those boundaries. She starts as this young bride in an arranged marriage. But by the end, she's making tough choices, protecting her family, even defying social norms when she has to.
Remember when she embraces Elsie, her son's wife, the artist? Elsie's a bit different, but Big Amachi welcomes her with open arms.
Oh, that was a powerful moment. It would have been easy to reject Elsie, to say she didn't fit in. But Big Amachi chooses acceptance, love.
It's like a lesson in, in choosing compassion over judgment. Makes you think about your own life, right? How open are we to those who are different from us?
Such a good question. But let's circle back to the condition for a minute. We know it turns out to be von Recklinghausen disease, but I can't get over that water tree. That image is so powerful.
I agree. It's more than just a family tree, isn't it?
It's a symbol, yeah.
Of what, though? What do you see there?
Well, on one level, it's their history, their lineage. This condition, it's like it's been passed down through the branches, a shared burden.
A visual representation of how it's touched each generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
But also, it's their relationship with this force, this thing they can't control.
Water, life and death all wrapped up in one.
And it makes you think, are they just accepting their fate or fighting against it?
I think it's a bit of both, right? There are definitely moments of resignation, but there's this incredible resilience there, too.
Okay, so we have to talk about the history, too, because this family, they lived through some crazy times. British colonialism, the fight for independence, communism even starts creeping in.
These huge historical events happening all around them. How could it not affect them, right?
It's like they're caught between two worlds, trying to figure out where they belong.
Holding on to their traditions while everything's changing.
And already dealing with this condition, right? It's like pressure upon pressure.
And yet, they find a way. They adapt. They keep going.
Makes you wonder if there are parallels, right? Like their own struggle against the condition and India's struggle for independence.
Ooh, good point. They're fighting on multiple levels. Freedom from oppression, freedom from this disease.
Exactly. Freedom to choose their own path. Speaking of which, I want to hear more about those pequeñas pinceladas de cosas extraordinarias. Remember that phrase from the Spanish Review?
Ah, yes, the little touches of the extraordinary. Those hints of magical realism. I'm intrigued by those too.
Me too. Do you think they're just symbolic, or is Verghese pointing to something more?
It's a good question. I think they could be metaphors, representing their inner lives, their connection to the land.
Kind of like the water tree, right? They're literal and symbolic at the same time.
Exactly. But maybe there's more to it. Maybe Verghese is suggesting there are things we just can't explain,
Like forces at work that we don't fully understand, that we can't measure with science.
Yeah. It's a world where the real and the surreal, they coexist. It makes you question what you believe, what you think is possible.
It's a reminder that even in a world obsessed with finding answers, there's still room for mystery, for wonder.
And maybe that's what makes life so interesting, right? That we don't have all the answers, that we're still figuring things out.
I like that. It's a good place to leave it for now, I think. We've covered a lot of ground.
And we're not done yet. Still more to explore.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that sometimes it's okay to just sit with the mystery. Not everything needs an explanation.
Agreed. But, even with all that mystery, Verghese doesn't forget the real world. The physical world. Remember those sensory details we were talking about?
Oh, absolutely. He's a master at that. Empapándonos sus olores y colores. I can't get that phrase out of my head.
It's so evocative, isn't it? You can practically feel the humidity, smell the spices, hear the sounds of Kerala.
You know, it makes you realize how much our senses contribute to our understanding of a place. It's one thing to read a description, but to feel like you're actually there.
It's a whole different level of immersion. And Verghese nails it. He doesn't just describe Kerala, he makes you experience it.
Speaking of experience, this book, it's an emotional roller coaster.
Oh, for sure. Verghese, he really captures the full range of human emotions. Joy, grief, anger, hope. It's all there. Nothing is off limits.
And it's so authentic, you know, like you're really feeling these things right alongside the characters.
That's the power of good character development.
Yeah.
These aren't just names on a page. They're real people with real struggles.
And Bigamachi, she really goes through it. I mean, we've talked about her strength, but let's not forget the sacrifices she makes, the pain she endures.
It's true. She starts as this young girl forced into a marriage she didn't choose. Then she loses children, faces hardship after hardship. It's a lot to bear.
Yet she perseveres, she keeps loving, keeps fighting for her family.
And in doing so, she becomes this symbol of resilience, not just for women, but for all of us. A testament to the power of the human spirit.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope, always a reason to keep going.
Absolutely. And I think Verghese, as a physician, brings a really unique perspective to this. He understands the human body in a way that most writers don't.
Yeah, he doesn't shy away from the realities of illness and death, that's for sure.
But he also celebrates the body's resilience, its ability to heal, to adapt.
It's like he's saying that even in our brokenness, there's beauty. Even in our vulnerability, there's strength.
It's a powerful message, and I think it's one that we all need to hear.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Covenant of Water, I think we can all agree that this book is more than just a story.
It's an exploration of what it means to be human, of the bonds of family, the weight of history, the mysteries of life and death.
It's a book that makes you think, makes you feel, and leaves you with a sense of wonder.
If you're looking for a book that will stay with you long after you finish reading it, this is it.
I couldn't agree more. The Covenant of Water, definitely worth diving into.